here we are in the book on page 206. You probably already done this, but I just want to go over it, just maybe just a little bit of more of an explanation or not. So we know percent is out of 100, and it tells us that Eleanor, Tilly, and Caleb are earning money training dogs to surf. Now, Caleb gets 20 cents, Tilly gets 30 cents, and Eleanor gets 50 cents. And all of that is out of 100. We know cents means out of 100. So Caleb's ratio would be 20 to 100. Tilly would be 30 to 100. Eleanor would be 50 to 100. I would think of it as money, cents, because we know 100 pennies or 100 cents equals $1. They showed you Caleb's portion here in letter B. They want to know how many boxes do you need to shade to represent Tilly's portion? And then they want you to shade it. So Tilly, we just said, makes 30 cents. So we would shade in 3 rows or 3 columns. And you can also, we know that it's a part to whole ratio. And I'm going to kind of put a little, it's not great, but it was what I could do. Let me see if I can erase it. So this is a part to whole ratio with the whole 100 as your denominator. They want you can write it as a percent. You can write it with the colon, or you can write it as a fraction. Caleb and Tilly, they want us to represent Caleb and Tilly's earnings as a percent. So we said Caleb was 20 out of 100. We said Tilly was 30 out of 100. And we said Eleanor was 50 out of 100. What about this? I'm going to have you stop, or the video is going to stop, so that you can answer this question. Write a percent to represent the portion of that is not shaded. So that has to be 80%. Next, page 207. You can use a ratio table, or you can use equivalent ratios to figure out how many out of 100, which is your percent. So for the ratio table, they are going to multiply by 2, by 3, by 4, by 5. So this right here is times 2. So 13 times 2. Let's see if I can get it. Is 26. 13 times 3. And 20 times 3. That's going to be 60 on the bottom. And that's going to be 39 on top. Next is going to be times 4. So 13 times 4 is going to be 52. And times 5 is going to be, I believe, 65. But let's test our and see if we're right. So I'm going to come down here. We think it is 65 out of 100. So let's just look. Here is, we're just taking the ratio we had up here, 13/20, and we're comparing it to 100. So I'm going to multiply by 5. I can even come over here and do 13 times 5. So that's 15 carry a 1. Whoops, that's a big one. 65. So that's 65 out of 100. So that's what we had up there. This is going to be 65 out of 100. We know if it's out of 100, that's percent. So I can go ahead and put 65% in there. Example 3. A recipe, we're around Thanksgiving and Christmas, everybody's cooking, for pie crust includes the ingredients shown. Find the ratio of sugar to flour. And I need that as a percent. So let's go ahead and write it as a fraction. So the pie crust needs sugar to flour. Sugar is 1, flour is 4. And we just took that from the information they gave us. They want us to write that as a decimal. What is 1/4 out of 4/4? Well, that is 25 cents. Which I forgot to do up here. So we'll do it now. Whoop, 25. Write that decimal as a percent. Now, we talked in the notes that I can simply take that decimal point, move it 2 places to the right, and that is like multiplying by 100. So this is going to give me 25%. Whoop. Last one. This one, not last one, last example. So the diagram shows results in red. Who received the higher score? Now, you do this all the time because you need to figure out what you have out of 100 for it to be a percent. So what we can do is we can use this double number line. I don't prefer this method, but I'm going to show it to you in case you see it. So they have all the percentages. So 0, 20, 40, 60, and it shows you the number of questions that were on the test. So John had 20 out of 100. So John actually had an 80%. You put your percentages along the bottom. You can go by 20s, you can go by 10s if you want. And then that 100% should be the total number of questions on the test. To convert John's score to a percent, what number do you mark on the top line? Well, I'm going to mark this one right here. So that's 20. And what number is it marked on the bottom? 80%. So Vince actually got a better score than John. So this is a comparison. I know that 20 times 4 is 100. If I multiply the bottom by 4, I have to multiply the top by 4. That's where I'm getting those numbers. We know that's 80%, and we know that Vince got a better grade. Here's where I want you to do some work. I'm not sure if this is your homework or not, But go ahead and work on these problems. I think this might be your homework. I would write them all as fractions and go from there. If you need help, email me.